All right, everyone, please get yourself a cuppa and maybe some biscuits or Monster Munch and enjoy this chat. This is not an interview. These conversations are meant to be as close to what it would be like if we were chatting in a pub or a cafe and you just so happen to be eavesdropping and listening in on it because you're nosy and you can't mind your own business. So if you're into casual chats, banter and lots of laughing, this is the content for you. All right, Momus, how are you doing?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm doing good. I'm quite happy there's a bit of sunshine about. It makes a difference.
It's cold. Uh, Still, the sun is good. Yeah,
I'd rather be cold than out in the rain and it be dark and grey. Do you know what I mean?
definitely.
Yeah, a bit of sunshine makes all the difference to me. All I need is like 5 minutes of sunshine and I'm a happy birdie. So yeah, I don't know how to start off the conversation because I just brought you on and then just thought we'll just talk how we normally talk. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
So what have
still
you been
try
up
to
to?
censor. I'll still try to censor myself a little bit. Won't
Oh,
talk
really?
exactly how we talk.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. Well, how we would talk if there was loads of people listening in on us. Yeah, that's how we're gonna talk. That doesn't make it weird at all. So what have you been up to?
Um, Not much really. I mean, yeah, actually a lot, but still not much. I've been writing my book. That I've been pondering over, like about Islam and issues in Islam and stuff like that. Work is really busy, so my day job that I don't talk about, that's really busy these days. So yeah, I'm having fun with that. I recently released an episode with Catherine Singh. I know you love her,
I
so
do.
that was good. I have reduced actually the conversational elements on my podcast because I'm just not finding the time. Like I have a lot of people who want to talk to me, but I just don't have the time. It takes a lot, like, because you record these episodes for a long time and then you end up not making any promos for them. You're not editing them properly or anything. So it just becomes a waste sometimes. So I'm concentrating more on history and mythology and, more on mythology than history as well. And yeah, that's what I'm doing and reading a lot as usual.
I've been reading a lot lately, and I do agree with you about the podcasting, but I don't edit them. I just put them out, and hopefully there's an audience for it. But I don't know. I mean, I listen to any old crap on the internet anyway. I will literally listen to anything. So I'm hoping there's other people like me out there that will also listen to anything. But what have you been reading? What's the most recent book that has captured your imagination?
Actually, it's a book that I'm rereading. It's actually over here. I'm rereading this. Time
Oh,
Traveler's Guide to Medieval England. Yeah,
nice.
because I read this before and I listened to it on Audible as well, but I had lost my copy, so I bought another copy. And yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. And there's another one that I got that I'm listening to. It's also like to do with English history. So yeah, those are the two ones that I'm reading these days.
That is weird because I put that on my wish list on Audible, so I might get that with my
Oh,
credit
it's
this
it's
month.
really good. It's really good.
Yeah, I like the medieval England stuff. I've been kind of hooked on it for about a year because I just think it's such a bizarre and like supernatural time. It's
It's
like
misunderstood a lot. Like they call it the Dark Ages. It was anything but.
no,
So
it wasn't. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's a lot misunderstood, and there's so much in there. Like there's so much, like, yeah, so much to discover.
that's cool. And with the Catherine Birbalsingh interview, I haven't watched it yet, but how's that gone down? Has it gone down well?
I haven't seen what the numbers are. I think so.
Oh.
It's probably like not that much right now because
But I mean, is it being received well by the audience that have listened to it?
those who have listened to, they love it. But
Yeah, good.
like my channel is constantly like suppressed on YouTube since I went ahead and did an interview with Tommy Robinson, and then
Oh,
he allowed me to
naughty.
put he allowed me to put the episode on my podcast as well. And that particular episode has picked up like around 200,000 views itself, but every other consecutive episode has been just blocked. And I believe, like, if it wasn't that blocked, that sort of suppressed my YouTube channel, it would receive way more than 200,000 views. So there is something, some shenanigans going on over there. It's the same thing that is going on Twitter as well, but
Yeah,
like
there
yeah, I mean,
seems to be shenanigans across the board, I'm
yeah,
afraid.
exactly. Like people don't like certain people criticizing Islam and stuff unless they are the grifter types, right? So you have like a lot of ex-Muslims who are sort of like just grifting off things, and they just want to do a conflict, or just trying to have they're not having a debate, they're just having a conflict and stuff to raise outrage, and they will like debate with the other Muslims and stuff, and there's no purpose to it apart from just letting out your anger.
Yeah, there's no
And
conflict resolution going
yeah, I
on. There's
mean,
no
yeah, and
solution.
yeah, and they're getting the views and stuff like that, but certain people like myself and stuff, they are constantly suppressed because I'm just
Hmm.
trying to cut through those things. Like, well, there's a lot of like grifting things, and like I'm saying grifting for a reason, not like
I
people
was about to
earning,
ask
yeah,
about what you
not
mean
people
by that.
earning money for it, like, right? Because I'm asking people as well to become a paid subscriber on my Substack, where I am most of the time, which is the worldofmomus.com. But that's not what I mean by grifting, that people selling their stuff, their products or whatever, the services or whatever, providing service to people. That's not what I mean. What I mean is like people not really engaging in the subject matter that they're talking about like deeply enough. They're only doing it because it's a way to earn money off people, and they will move from one spot to another spot. So this is what I've seen in the sort of American right wing space, which is filled with this stuff, right? So they're just grifters. They just want money, right? So right now, since Christianity was becoming in that space was becoming something popular, so now they all suddenly started becoming Christians, right? But they have no wisdom of the Christ. They just like shouting Christ is King and stuff because it's earning them money. So if it wasn't for that, they would have picked up something else, right? So there's these American twins, these American black twins. I don't know what they're called, whatever. They're quite famous.
Hodge twins,
Yeah,
aren't
yeah.
they?
So they're pretty famous in that space, and they do laugh about like how they're Christians and stuff, and then they're engaging with people like positively engaging with people like Andrew Tate and that whore that had sex with 1,000 people in a day or whatever, and they're like Lily, whatever her name was, um, you know, they're engaging with them not in a way that they want to help them become better people or something. Oh, they're doing it like, oh, we got a good guest, like, come and listen to them. It's like, what are you actually doing? How is it in Congress with your what you're putting out, like you as a person and stuff? That doesn't make you a good person. You're doing it because those people are in vogue. A lot of people are talking about them. It will get you views, it will get you money, not that it is actually a good thing to do or not. Like they're not really determining that. So that's what I mean by the grifter space, because most of the people, that's all they're doing. Money is their god, and they just are compelled to do those things, and they justify themselves.
Do you think it is just money, or do you think it is that the internet and especially social media is kind of like a circus?
Oh yeah, well, but why would you want to be in a circus unless it paid? So like there's very few weirdos that go to become circus clowns because they love circus so much. Yeah, that's how it used to be before, right? Even if we take this analogy, there used to be people who used to go door to door, or like door to door, village to village,
Hmm.
doing circuses and stuff, right? And they lived that life. It wasn't that beneficial for them financially, but they just loved it. They love performing for people. They love the art and stuff like that. That used to be how circus was in a circus sense. Now it's sort of like if it pays, then people will do it regardless of whether they like it or not.
All right, but what do you say to people who don't really mind that people are like making money just circusing on YouTube? You know, like bringing in the social freaks that are going viral. And I say it that way because that's the analogy I'm using.
Don't complain about the cultural decline then. Don't
Oh,
you know,
those are fighting words.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if you are yeah, if you're not interested, and if you're just yeah, everyone do whatever the hell they want and blah blah stuff like that, don't complain then. Don't complain about the politics, don't complain about the cultural decline. Just live in your moment then, and have fun while your whole country, your whole culture, your whole civilization comes to a burning decline.
But what about the fact that people who are parading people like Lily Phillips or Bonnie Blue on social media for interviews are exposing them and, you know, making other people, so many other people, aware of what's going on social media and in our society? So your problem is the intent behind their
Yeah,
content.
the intent behind it, because the thing is like there might be byproducts to their selfish behavior that might
Mm.
not have selfish outcomes, right? But that's not their intent. And if that's not their intent, then that outcome could be better if their intent was better, right? So the outcome of awareness and stuff could be amplified even more, and more people could be helped if that was the intention. But they're not saying that. They're not saying don't do this. They're not saying like there's a, they're not showing tough love or anything of that sort. They're just saying like that's what people do. That's what they love. While they love Randy Tate, they don't care if they are a Christian and he is now become a Muslim and he's just still grifting. What they are talking about, the Muslim rape gangs, while promoting a guy who has had exploiting young girls and stuff to become OnlyFans prostitutes, right? There's no congress with their thought, because the subject matter doesn't matter to them, because they just want to earn money. And why it matters is because the individuals that become the community, then it becomes the community of the disconnected. These people are now completely disconnected with each other, with the consequences of their actions, and they're just chasing the gold. So if people say like, oh, I don't have a problem, they do that and they get a lot of views, that shows you that a lot of people do not give a shit, right? And if they
Yeah.
do not give a shit, then these same people should stop complaining about the cultural decline, because they're helping it.
Yeah. So what do you think people can do to prevent or put a slow down the cultural decline? What do you think? What do you think people like me and you, just normal people, can do? Because it feels pretty helpless, and we're like overwhelmed with it from all angles. It's not just like the Islam thing or the rape gangs or, you know, people like Andrew Tate influencing young men, lonely, susceptible, vulnerable men. It's not just that. It's not just like feminism causing rot everywhere as well. It's not even just like the constant lying, taunting, and gaslighting from the government. It's not even that. It's everything all at once.
I think so. We need to stop thinking that the individual can do it on their own, um, to reverse this, right? So the only thing that the individual can do to save themselves from the evils of today, of the modern world, is disengage with the modern world. If they disengage with the modern world, then they leave other individuals, on their own with their own devices, right? So, and they will fall trap to all the other evils. And the only way of actually defeating it is through a collective effort of people coming together and people en masse disengaging with the messages and disowning the people who have just the intentions of selling them, who are just snake oil merchants, right? So it can't happen just one person doing it. All I can do, and which all I have done, is I have taken away my need, or made sure that I do not have this desire of money over other things, right? That I put something else as a primary in everything that I do, in all my intentions and stuff. That's what people can do individually, right? I can't change the whole world on my own. You can't change
Yeah.
the whole world on your own. Unless other people buy into the fact, understand that it is a cultural decline and it is by choice. Because we as individuals are making the choice of not coming together and sort of going against this narrative. So it is a choice. It might be a choice that is not wholly ours sometimes, when we are in situations where we can't make positive choices and stuff. I understand that. But like, I'm talking about people as well who have the ability to make the choice. They are also not making the choice to overturn this. If we all come together against these sort of things, then these things don't stand a chance. Because they are feeding off our energy. They're feeding off our energy, our attention, our money, right? Those individuals who are corrupting the society are not creating anything of their own. They're taking our blood, sweat, and tears, our efforts, and our money to fuel their hatred, their evil in this world, right? So we need to stop that. We need to deny them access to ourselves. That's what we can do.
How is that happening? Like for people that are listening and they don't understand like exactly what we're talking about, who are the people, you don't have to name names, but who are the people in society that are taking our money and our attention and our time, and how are they facilitating a cultural decline exactly by taking our money and our time?
Okay, so let's take BBC as an example,
Yes, that's a good example. Go for it.
right? So we take BBC as an example. It is actively participating in the decline of British culture, history, heritage, and everything, right? We are still paying our TV licenses.
Not me.
Yeah, I know, but like a lot of people are still paying their TV licenses,
Yeah,
right? They're still engaging with the content. So you should stop doing that to a certain level, right?
yeah.
W-
What about social media though? Because everyone's on social media.
Same thing, social media. Why are we there 24/7?
I'm not there 24/7, but I've made a choice, like you say. I've made a choice and I do all of my daily activities. And people think I'm online a lot. Like, people are like, oh, your presence is online, it's constantly online. But there are ways around it. You can write in your own time and then post it. You don't have to sit there and read the replies or engage in everything.
That's different from people who have an audience and who are trying to actually have something, produce some content and stuff. That's
That's what
completely different.
I'm
No,
producing content.
that's what I'm saying. That is different. The level of engagement for people who are creating content is different to the people who are consuming the content, right? Why are the
Oh,
people who are consuming the content constantly consuming the content? Why are they not self-regulating themselves? Why are they on social media constantly? It's because they're avoiding something in their real lives. Why are they avoiding their real relationships and stuff like that? Those are the sort of things that we can do, right? So yes, X is over there and it's giving you, oh, you can become a premium member. I am a premium member and stuff. Okay, I'm
me
getting the,
too.
because I'm creating content over there. Why does everyone need to have a premium contract with them? Why does, like, so these sort of things as well, like maybe you have a premium, everyone has a premium, that's fine. You don't have to constantly engage with everything over there. You don't have to go on Instagram 24/7, just doom scrolling and stuff. There are other things that you can do. You are avoiding certain personal and social responsibilities for this cheap dopamine hit, right? There are many
But that is why,
examples
though,
what the
because
personal person can do as an individual, that people can make those choices. And those choices, usually when I talk about it, people hit me back with that, well, you are doing those things on social media, you're creating content on social media. It's like, yes, if I was working for BBC, I would be producing documentary, but I would not be advocating for you to sit in front of your TV 24/7 and watch all my fucking documentaries all the fucking time. I would say, like, if when you have the time and the quality time, then you watch those things, then you engage with it in your own time. Every single person does not have to consume everything that is popular, right? This is the problem as well. Oh, this is popular now. Or if you don't know this, you're a fucking idiot, right? Or how do you not know that about this program? Why have you not watched this program? The list of things to consume is more than the time that we have, right? And everyone thinks to be a good person, to be a not a good person, to be a relevant person that will deserve the attention of their peers, it is necessary for them to consume everything that is in the popular domain in any particular time. And that is fucking insane, right?
It
That
is
never
insane.
used to happen.
But it's not just that. It's, I think, for a lot of people, the scrolling, the doom scrolling you said about, like whether it's on Twitter or TikTok or whatever, on X, TikTok. Um, I think for a lot of people, that dopamine hit is more appealing than real life now. Real life has become like bland for a lot of people, and they're like sitting in front. We see it all the time. We go out, we have something to eat. There's couples sitting in front of each other, staring at their phones. And me and Doozer can't do that. We don't do that. Even when we lived in a van, we didn't always have the internet, but when we lived in a van, we made a point of not having our phones in front of us when we're out together, and we don't do it now. We don't, like at home. There has been times when we've sat on the sofa and we're both making content, but that's a choice we've made in that moment. The minute one of us wants to talk to the other person, we put our phones down, and that it's one of those things that the phone has become like a body part for a lot of people, and it's part of them, and they can't seem to put that down. And real life is bland, it's boring for them, and I can see it around me, I can see it happening. And people find TikTok, just scrolling on TikTok, before they know it, they tell me, before they know it, 3-4 hours have gone, and I'm like, how have you, like 3 or 4 hours? I could do so much in a day with 3 or 4 hours. But maybe some people find that daunting as well, having a long stretch of 3 or 4 hours ahead of them in the day and nothing to do. Maybe. I mean, I don't know who has nothing to do, because I never have nothing to do. But
Yeah, but
there
also
are people.
there's a need as well for people. People think that the life is supposed to be 24/7 exciting, right?
Productive, 24/7 productive, because even I've bought into that sort of like hustler mentality. But I have a real issue with relaxing. Like yesterday, I had the best day. I got up, I went to the gym as soon as I got up. I come back, I went for a walk with Deuce. He'd gone for a run. We went and had breakfast together. We come back here, we cleaned the flat, and then we went out for lunch with my brothers. And then my brothers came back here, and we all had some tea, and we all sat around talking. And then when everybody left, I had a choice of I could spend my Saturday evening relaxing, and I had a real issue with it. I found myself looking for things to do rather than just enjoying the moment of just being quiet. And
That's a different thing, right? Like the puritanical intentions of overworking yourself, like the Americans have. That's something else. I'm not saying people should not enjoy it. People should not relax. I relax a lot.
but I don't. Here's the thing: I don't find social media particularly relaxing.
Look, this is what I'm saying. So when people are relaxing, or people need to engage with the real world, right? So, and the real world does not need to be exciting. Things do not have to be exciting. Not everything is exciting, and the real beauty of things of this world is in the non-exciting things, right? It's in the like simple non-exciting things, which are only there for you to observe, right? So
Yeah.
you're going for a walk, right? And you see like a little ladybird on a rock, and you're just there staring at the ladybird, and it just goes, and it has a beautiful pattern that you haven't seen before. It just stays over there for a little bit and then is gone, right? You do not need to record that and show the entire world. That
No.
moment was made for you, right? That moment was made for you to relax, to disengage, to understand, the beauty of the world around you. In that mundane moment, you can connect with things that are beyond exciting, but we are not choosing to do it. We need stimulus all the time. We need, like, to be entertained as if we were fucking kings or pharaohs or something, all the time. Eh, this is like, I'm not saying again, I'm not saying people should not relax. People should relax more. People should meditate more. I meditate every day. Like, it's relaxing for me.
It's
People
boring
should.
as well. Let's be honest.
It's you've got to push it. Well, for me, yeah, because I have trouble pushing beyond the barrier of the bit where I'm bored.
But people need to find different things which work for them, right?
Oh, of course, I
Meditation
totally agree.
meditation works for me.
I'm
It
not
doesn't work
shitting on
for you.
meditation, by the way. I would
Yeah,
love to push myself
yeah. But
mentally
different people are
to do that.
different. But this again, this as well is actually a very good point, which is what I was saying before, is no, like I was saying, like, not you shouldn't be consuming everything that is popular out there, which the people have, the society, whatever society it is, the online society, have decided that it is something for you to consume if you want to be a relevant person. Everyone doesn't have to do everything that is out there. So if someone popular makes the idea of meditation popular, doesn't mean everyone does it, right? And if someone doesn't do it, that they are a failure. It means that there is a way of achieving something, some sort of nirvana in your mind, right? But there are also other ways. The actual way of doing it is not the message. The message
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
achieving of that thing, or the
I
process
feel
of
like
achieving that thing.
I feel like I achieve some sort of meditation when I'm painting, and that's the closest I can get to it. But my intention of trying meditation has more been about quietening my own mind and learning to practice that, rather than that lots of people are talking about it now, if that makes sense. Although it being in the atmosphere in terms of social media, things like meditation being talked about more does bring more people into the world of thinking, oh, I might try that. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing, but like, if you're spending 5 hours looking at videos which is telling you to do meditation, right, in a day, and then you're like, oh, actually, I don't really have time for that. It's like, well, what are you
who spends
engaging with?
5 hours looking at
Yeah,
meditation videos though?
yeah.
But
I did an interesting thing. Not interesting. It's actually incredibly boring. But I really, really I worked in. I went to the gym and then I went to work and I had a long day and I was hurting all over and I was weightlifting as well. And I thought, oh, I really want a massage, but like can't afford one right now. So I watched a video of a hot stone massage, and I was like, oh, that looks nice. And then I fell asleep.
that is really boring. But I'm just saying, like,
In some way, there's an element of living vicariously through other people on social media.
Yeah, I'm not like, this is important as well. I'm not shitting on everything, right? So I'm not saying that you should not engage at all with the content that other
oh, of
people are
course,
producing and stuff. I'm saying, bring back the sense of moderation.
yes.
Prioritize what's more important in your life, right? So if you are in a relationship, if you have a family, you're married or whatever, um your priority, like as a man, your priority is to make sure, you know that the people in your household are provided for, right? The priority is not so that you could get like 2 hours of gaming time. That's not the priority anymore, right? Because you made a choice to be part of a family. Now if you are angry at the world, and the world is the modern world is providing so much excitement and stuff for you, but you're not getting the time to enjoy that excitement because you have responsibilities, and you don't want to do those responsibilities, then that's that's not the problem of the world, because world at every era is going to produce those sort of things, because these are the temptations of the devil that every religion, every mythology talks about. Your choice you know is to actually overcome those temptations, because you need to prioritize, you need to understand like those things. So I'm not saying like those things itself are bad. It's just the temptations are bad, right? So, and if you're gonna overconsume yourself with those temptations, and not really engage with your personal and social responsibilities. There are personal responsibilities like taking care of a family. There's social responsibilities like taking care of your community, right? So if you're going to forego your social responsibilities and be like, oh, like, well, the government is going to take care of it, oh, the local council is going to take care of there's been outside and stuff, I don't actually need to clean it up or whatever outside and stuff like that, you're disintegrating everything. You're actually disengaging in the worst way. So yeah, I don't know how else to like put this, but I think so. If people are not actively involved in trying to do what's best for their community and themselves and their family, family, community, nation, as the SDP motto is, if they if they're not going to engage with that, then they do not have a right to complain about the decline, because
I
they
think
are
a lot
part
of
of the
people.
decline.
I think a lot of people see the decline already and they feel like there is nothing to care for or fight for in their community. I think a lot of people, what's the word for that? Like disempowered, or there's another word for it. But I think people just lack that willingness to give a shit about their community because they feel like the community isn't there.
I don't understand. I don't understand this
Do
mentality.
you think those are the people that are complaining, the ones that feel like they don't even have a community?
Yeah, they always do. Everyone likes to complain, but nobody likes
Oh,
to
of course they
actually do
do.
something, right? About it. So it, like, if they think that they are in a worse spot, like, then think about the people who are in Second World War, First World War, before that time, when the Vikings invaded England, when the Normans invaded England, think about those times. Oh yeah, people were having a good time, you think? People had more agency than you know, they were having a shit time as well. They were having a
Yeah.
worse time because they didn't even have the means to do anything about it. But you don't, like, you can't weather the storm if you're just gonna give up. And if you're just going to give up, then give up. Stop complaining then. You know, like all these people like who are engaging with contents of people like Andrew Tate, or like those Hodge twins, or whatever, or whatever other people. I'm not saying they're entirely bad, those people, and then that their message has absolutely no value and stuff, but it's not their intention to give out good messages, or to actually help people and stuff. You're making false prophets, you're making them famous, right? And then you're complaining that your culture is declining.
Yeah, I think people think they're doing something by leaving comments online and stuff like that. They think that that is the equivalent of helping in society. And there's an element of truth to it, like with the trans thing. The way that's been pushed in society hasn't just been that organisations like Sex Matters exist now, and people like Maya Forstater have gone to court and fought to make laws to protect our right to not believe in trans. It's not just been that, it has been the online support has really changed the landscape on it, especially when Elon bought X and made it so that you can't get kicked off for saying that men are not women, although there are other censorship issues over there. I think the online commentators, even if they're anonymous, do contribute in some way to some sort of change, but it can be seen in the material reality, but it's not enough to go online and say things. Would you say that's true?
No, yeah, I mean, even if you look at it, the disproportion of like people like Maya Forstater, right, and Mary Harrington, and people like that.
And Helen Joyce as well. It's been
Yeah,
brilliant.
exactly. Those people have less support by the end of the day
Than
than
Andrew
Andrew
Tate.
Tate,
Yeah.
who they say, oh yeah, his message talks about that as well because he's against trans people. He's not really doing anything. Those people are actually doing something, but because he's like sexy in terms of the package that he's putting out, in terms of like that he's creating outrage, he's creating excitement, he's creating those sort of things, he's hitting the grifting marks. It doesn't matter that he's actually part of a problem that is corrupting the minds of young men who will overcorrect the issue that we have to go even the worst angle, right? It doesn't matter. So it's not actual the content creators that I'm really talking about. It's how we engage with those content creators, and that also becomes like that all the knowledge is out there. How you engage with that knowledge matters, right? So Mind Camp is out there, right? How do you engage with it matters. Do you read it as a manual, or do you read it as like something to understand, to avoid, to understand evil, right?
I've never read it.
Yeah, but like it doesn't matter. It's a material whether you've read it or not read it. Like
Yeah.
that's the point, right? So and these aren't the same, like it's matters with the content creators as well, because they are the sort of the literary class of today, without not while not being that literate. But like they are the literary class of like that sort of class that people are going to get information from.
The information class.
Yeah, the information class, right? So it depends of how you're engaging. Why are you supporting people who are actually not really, who are just there? You can see it, they're just there to help themselves, as opposed to people who are actually trying to do something and helping others and stuff. And why you're not helping yourself in the same way? Your local communities, you know, if that sense of community is not there, then we need to build that community. Each individual, every one of us has to build something, has to do something, has to do something little for our neighbors or whatever. Try to reach out, try to see, like, oh, you might get shut down, you might get shouted at, because it's the world that we live in. Unless you're willing living in towns and villages, you'll be fine. But in cities and stuff, people who are out there, they might get that. That's why I hate the cities. But you might get shut down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, but at least you won't have the failure of trying. At least you're trying, and it will click somewhere, and that you will pass that energy forward onto the other person. They will make that effort and stuff. It takes time. Why do people want, like, this is as well, I can't understand, why do people want instant solutions to problems that have taken decades to develop?
Because we're in an instant and disposable world. Everything's instant.
Oh,
Instant and
let's just
everything's
vote. Let's just
disposable.
vote for reform, and they will fix everything. They don't even know what to fix.
Well, I voted for reform, but I didn't vote for them because I thought they would fix anything, because I knew they wouldn't get in, but I didn't want another 4 years of Conservatives, and I didn't want Labour either, but I knew Labour were going to get in regardless.
Even if they get in, you know that they're not going to fix everything, right? Nobody is going to fix everything, but
I'll settle for somebody fixing some things, like one thing, over nothing.
people think like 2029 is when we fix everything, right? 2029 is when we vote
Oh, it's got to start now. It's got to start now. Like, people have got to start fixing things now, rather than wait until 2029 and seeing what happens.
They also think, like, because this is as well in an election cycle, it's an instant, right? That you think that the next election cycle, 2029, a party comes in, you vote for reform, they come in, and everything is fixed, and you don't have to take personal and social responsibility. It doesn't work like that. They're not going to fix anything. They're not going to fix your homes. They're not going to fix your relationships. They're not going to fix your relationships with your community.
Those are the only things we can control. We can't control things like, for example, rent prices or taxes and things like that. We can only control
The things that we
own-
can control, we need to fix
Yeah.
them ourselves and not wait for a savior to fix them.
Okay, I've never personally relied on political parties to sort out my relationships and things, but I don't think I've ever met anyone that does.
I'm not saying it like that, right? So
Okay.
what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying it personally for you, I'm saying it generally for people, right? So what I'm saying is, like, people are voting for these people or whatever party that might be that they think is the solution, thinking that they will fix all the problems in the society. That because they will come in, everything will be fine. We will be on the nice track and everything. They might
I can
fix.
see
They think that though, because you see what happened in America when Trump got in. Straight away, he started making changes that were brilliant.
Yeah, but that's on the social media level, right? Their problems are still there. Their social problems are still there. They need to fix those problems, and you can see those problems now, the same problems that I'm talking about before, the American right wing grifter class, right? They still have money as their motivator, right? Like that's their moral compass, the money, right? So they haven't really fixed anything apart from the fact that what they're fixing is the economy. They're creating the environment, right? Where individuals within that environment are more capable of fixing their personal lives. So that's all that a political class or governing class can do for you, the best of governing class. Let's imagine that Reform Party, which I don't think it is the best of that class, right? And makes an environment. It's what I'm saying, it is still your responsibility to engage and take advantage of that environment provided to you. It won't just magically fix everything. Just because maybe you have to pay less taxes doesn't mean your relationship with your wife or your husband becomes better. That's something that, like, those sort of things people are avoiding. That's why people are doom scrolling. Those sort of things that they don't want to take responsibility for personally. That's what people are trying to avoid. And then they put all this in a basket and say, look, all my problems are because of the excess immigrants. All my problems are because the economy is shit. All my problems is because the church has gone woke and stuff, right? So once you fix that, and they know fixing that is, most of it is an impossible task to a degree, or at least it will take way too long. That means I don't have to worry about my personal problems, my behaviors, and my responsibilities till that is fixed, because I can always blame that. That's what I'm saying, that what people are doing, people are replacing that. Those things will get fixed or won't get fixed, it doesn't matter. Throughout history, those things have never been, the governing of us has never been good, right? It has been up and down and up and down. But how you engage with your responsibilities, that's what the things are in your control. You need to do that, right?
Yeah, I've thought about that before, but in different ways. I've thought about it as in like as an artist. I've thought about it like there are writers and artists and musicians who have lived through some really difficult shit and still managed to produce their art and their music and get on with their lives.
Yeah, I mean, that's another way of thinking about it. But like, if I'm thinking about the individual, I'm thinking about
yeah,
the
of course.
individual who's not creating anything or whatever, who just wants to live their life. Those are the individuals that are usually doom scrolling. The people who are creating stuff are usually not, because they don't have time to doom scroll, because they need to create content for you to doom scroll, right? So that that's a different thing. That's a different paradigm. But for those, like, I think so, like, people are just avoiding their, and I keep banging on about it. People get angry at me for saying this again and again. They come up with excuses. Well, you haven't lived that life. You haven't. I don't care. I've lived like different kinds of life. Yeah, I have different challenges. You have different challenges. But your personal responsibilities are not going away anyway. Your relationships, the way that you engage with the world, with the things around you, with the materials around you, what you give priorities to, what things, they are in your control. Change that and hope that, like, not just hope, but actively work towards a hope. Have a hope and then work towards it, that your country becomes better, then your environment becomes better, so it makes it easier for you to engage how you want to engage. But you first have to change your attitude, right? So the churches are not just empty because they turned woke. The churches turned woke because they became empty, and they had to think of ways to attract crowds, right? So we disengaged, right? So it comes to that. I'm not saying like people should go to a particular church, or people should be Christians or not. I can't say that because I'm not myself a baptized Christian. What I'm saying is that the people's spiritual connection with the divine, whatever that divine might be, something outside of themselves, has become unimportant to them. And then they're complaining that there's a decline in the spiritual reality of our culture, right? Nobody told you that you should stop reading books, right? The readership in England has gone way below than what it was before, right? That's an active decision that people are making, right? Nobody forced you to have bad relationships, make bad choices, have broken families, right? There has to be a stop and say like, okay, no, we need to take this responsibility. It doesn't matter how much money I have. Like poor people in the past, poor people that I have known in other cultures, they don't just have broken relationships because they're poor. They just adjust, their expectations. Like there's a saying, like I don't know if it's in Urdu, but it might be in English as well. Like you only stretch your feet as much as long as your blanket is, right? You don't stretch beyond it, right? So you gotta learn to live with those things. you know we have stopped paying attention to what matters most to humans because we want to consume things. We want to be relevant to people who don't care about us really. We want to crave that attention. We crave that attention and stuff. We want that cheap dopamine hit, you know, and we're
Yeah, it's a
forgetting. Yeah.
Convenient culture to be in where you don't, like you say, you don't have to have personal responsibility, but also people are treating everything transactionally. Everything is a transaction.
Yeah, because everything is materialism. Everything is
yeah.
like this is the right wing of today, right? It's become materialism, and the left wing. They're both those political wings.
Well, yeah, I think the left are just as materialist as the right. I think, and also like you can use the trend thing as an example. That's all materialism, and that's all disconnecting from yourself and personal responsibility for yourself as well. All of it is about disconnecting from being a human and from having human interactions like real ones. All of it's all about faking it, pretending it to. It's all about your image and what other people not, no, not they don't even care what other people think. They're telling you what to think. So there's that outsourcing of thinking power as well. People don't really want to have to think for themselves because it's difficult to think for yourself, and it's difficult to think for a long time as well, and it's difficult to think thoroughly about what you actually believe about what's being presented in front of you. So people would rather outsource that to an influencer that they find entertaining, and entertaining is what's going to hook you in at the end of the day. If somebody speaks the truth but they're not as entertaining, are you really going to listen?
No. Yeah. And like hopefully people understand. I'm not saying this to disparage people, right? Like I'm not saying this to scold people, just to scold people. I am scolding people, but not just to scold people, right? I'm saying this because it means that you have agency, that you have control.
Well, I couldn't think of anything more depressing than thinking that I don't have agency or control, but that is the culture we're in. The cultural message is that you're not in control of anything.
Yeah, that you're a victim, both on the
Yes.
left and the right. This
Yeah.
victimhood mentality is on the right as well. Oh, this
It is
government,
because the right will.
yeah, exactly. This government has done to us, or there's a cabal of
Yeah.
evil
And
Jews that are
I've been
controlling the
guilty.
world, or whatever they.
I've been guilty.
Of it, I've been guilty of blaming a lot of things on what the left are doing, but I do blame the left for a lot of things.
And I
No,
also
blaming is not
acknowledge.
like the same. Blaming is not like becoming a victim. We can blame things on where the blame is appropriate to put, right? But the thing is, like, what I'm trying to tell people is that you have agency. These things are in your control. You have the agency. 50% might not be in your control, but the 50% that is in your control, take charge of that. And once you take charge of what's in your control, everything that follows becomes easier and easier for you to engage with.
If people get annoyed with you for saying that, I know why. I think it's because it's hard, and people don't want to have to do
It's just
Hard
hard.
things.
But people don't want to have to do hard things. They don't want
Oh,
to
then
have
don't
to.
complain. Don't complain. Don't complain when you're like, in the gulags with the other people. Just have fun. Just have fun. You know. But like I can't like because I have heard a lot of people who are fucking complaining all the time, right? They complain all the time about those things, but they are fake complainers as well. Like people, this as well. People need to understand the influences that they're taking their morality from, rather than something higher and stuff. They are also portraying you a fake life. They're not really living that life. A lot of the right wing influences and stuff who pretend to be so pious and stuff are also they're actually the people. Some of them are the people who, like, cheat on their wife, or you know do bad things and stuff, who are just like, trying to fool you to have they will have disagreements with someone, like especially in politics. They'll have heated disagreements with someone, and the second after a second they will be going out with, like, on champagne parties with the same person, because they're creating outrage for you, right? So this happens a lot as well, because you're being, like, you're being fooled in that way, because they're just creating content and stuff. So you have, like, the control to actually change your own personal life. It's hard. The whole point of life is like, I do not understand why people think it won't be hard. Like, you are
People know it's hard. But that's what they don't want. They don't want hard things. They don't want things to be hard.
you're on a speck of dust in a fucking big universe, which happens to have a chance of life. How is that supposed to be easy? That is fucking hard. Right? To maintain that, to have evolved into something, it is hard. It is hard in itself. Even if you don't think about God or Christianity or something, it is supposed to be hard. You know, it's not easy. And even when it comes to, like, spirituality or religious pursuits and stuff like that, or it's not your connection with, like, Christ, or your connection with a God, or your connection with whatever, it's not supposed to be easy. It's not like a all-time available 5G network that you can just connect all the time. It's one of those old-timey things, satellite phones, that you have to be on the top of the mountain somewhere to get a bar of signal every now and then. That, because it's hard getting that. It's not supposed to be easy. Things are not supposed to be easy. And the more that we try to make them easy, I see, like, in the service of convenience, I see us becoming less and less human.
Do you think that that's like, to me, years ago when I first heard Jordan Peterson, a big part of his message was that taking personal responsibility. It was like, clean your room. The idea of clean your room, people mocked it. But the idea of that is one small step towards your personal responsibility. And the cleaning your room is a good first step. I think there's a culture around us that rallies against that, because the reason I think Jordan Peterson's been cancelled and people like him were cancelled so hard at the beginning is because it went against the idea that you have no agency.
Yeah. I mean, they want you to sell this.
If you believe you have no agency, you're disempowered, and then other people can control you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But who is they when I say, like, they want everyone?
Yeah, who
Everyone,
is they?
everyone, right? It's in everyone's benefit who wants to be, who wants to have control of you. That is the new media, social influencers, as well as the establishment, because they all want control of you, right? Because because they're not creating anything in a way that is separate from your, like, sort of concentrated attention. They want your attention. They want to control you. They want to control your ideas and stuff, because that's what makes them relevant.
But those people need to do what you said at the beginning, which is to separate themselves from needing to be an influencer above everything else. Do you know what I mean? Like, me and you, in our personal lives, we have jobs outside of what we do online. And a big part of me doing that was mainly to get myself out of the house and to pay bills, but also because it helps me to not rely on the online world for my income, because I think that would over time shape what I produce. And
Jesus was a carpenter for a reason,
so it wasn't to pay bills.
No, but like you need something else. You need to create something. You need
I'd, I
Organically learned that for myself, that I needed something else. That came to me organically.
No, I know but this.
No, I'm just wondering if other people will come to that organically, like if there will be a reckoning where people realise, and influencers as well online. I'm not saying I'm an influencer.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
You don't think they have that self-awareness?
They probably do, but money overrides it.
It's a lot of money they must be earning.
Just imagine, like, if we live in that in a Star Trek world where money becomes irrelevant. Right now, I'm not saying it's a communist world. I'm saying it's just the need for money becomes irrelevant in a way that, like, everything that was, was provided through effort as well, but like it just wasn't that relevant. Then the realization might come, like, okay, I need to do more things and stuff. But then people will replace money with something else.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking as you were speaking. I was thinking, well, we're still going to be transactional, just in another way.
Even in the time of Jesus, there were many other messiahs, right? This need will never go away. This need for power over others or control over others, right? Because it's a human thing.
Is it control over others, or is it the money for yourself? Because those seem like
Many
two
things.
separate
There's
things.
many things, like money for yourself gives you control over others. Like there's different reasons why people are doing this, but this need for that will not go away. So the influencers or the social media content creators and whatever, they can do whatever the hell they want. They can go whichever garden path they want to go down to. I want people who are engaging with them to be better, at recognizing it, to be better at engaging with these people, and understanding that most of them don't want the better for you. All of them are not your saviors, so stop, like, replacing your own personal responsibility for them to resolve it, you know and just take charge of your personal life. Because once you take charge of your personal life, once you take control of your own personal life and stuff, and engage with your life more, and disengage with the fact that, materialism is everything, that accumulating wealth is more important than accumulating good memories. Once you replace those ideas, right, you're just naturally going to disengage with them, and those influencers then will have to get a day job, because it won't be that profitable anymore.
But I think that social media side and things is going to get worse, because people are making a living, even ordinary people are making a living just posting on X, and Instagram is offering people money to post, and so you get all these platforms. Even TikTok does it. You get these platforms where you get paid to post.
Yeah, but people need to. This is why I'm saying it's the people. The people need to revalue these things. That the money that they're earning doing those things, is it worth the decline in their own social life, their own relationships and stuff like that?
They're not thinking about that. They're thinking about it. The money they earn on TikTok is more than the money they'd earn working at Tesco's, and that's how they're looking at it.
Yeah, but this is something that needs to change. And if it's not going to change, then the culture is going to decline to a point where it will be destroyed, and it will be taken over by some other culture who would replace that.
Or what if the people consuming the content directed their attention at the content that is more wholesome, and that was where the money goes instead of
Well,
the
yeah,
money.
that is something that I'm saying as well. Like this is what people need to do. I'm saying, like, people need to go towards those content more, right?
Or not more, but instead of the content that is perhaps detrimental to them and to our environment.
Engage in frivolous content every now and then, like,
I make frivolous content.
like you like watching reality TV, right? That's like,
Do I?
no, you.
No, you as in the universe, you.
No, you as in you, Birdie, you, right? I'm like, you engage with some reality TV and
Some occasionally. Yeah, but I make a choice not to because I think it's like junk food.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm
Mm.
saying. You engage with that sometimes, right?
Yes, I can't do too much. No.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying that all of that frivolous content is bad. What I'm saying is that you need to moderate your engagement with it, right? So if you're engaging with the educational stuff or things that will enhance your understanding of things and stuff a bit more than the frivolous things, but again, not spending fun. It doesn't mean like I've replaced now my habit of doom scrolling with 10 hours of reading a book or engaging with educational content while my kids are going hungry.
I'm not saying this to be up myself or anything, but I don't doom scroll and I don't understand it.
But people do, right? You might not, but people do.
Yeah, I know people do. Everyone I know does. Everyone.
Those are the people that I'm speaking to. It's sort of like that doom scrolling. If you replace that doom scrolling, right? Even if you replace, let's say, 1 hour of or 2 hours of doom scrolling,
That's so much time you can do stuff with.
let's you even replace that with 2 hours of reading a book or watching a documentary and stuff like that, right? That that is not like that doesn't mean that you have resolved the issues with your personal responsibility. That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
not just the type of content. It's first prioritizing that do you actually have time to 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 do these things outside of your responsibilities. And if you're taking care of that, then you find the time to do it. You don't prioritize your own self dopamine levels, your own
Yeah.
gratification.
It's like earlier at the start of our chat, I said that I had the best day yesterday. So I woke up, I went straight to the gym. I went for a walk with Doos and we had breakfast. We come back, we cleaned the flat together, put some music on. I could have easily, and have done before, plenty of times, woken up and just looked at my phone and got sucked into that for the first half of the day. And just laid in bed looking at things, not doom scrolling, but like watching content or reading things or chatting on WhatsApp or whatever it happens to be. When I've got Doos right next to me or in the flat, and he's got a day off and I've got a day off, but we've not spoken to each other. There's been times like that, and so I have been thinking about, and I think we've spoken about it, making an effort to take that time that you've got and spend it with your partner in real life, not looking at your phones or anything. And it's weird that we're in a position where we have to even think about that, because when I was a teenager even, we didn't have the internet. I mean, I remember we had MySpace, but you had to literally go home and plug in, do the modem and dial up and all that. And I think we should go, personally, I think we should go back to that. I don't think we should have the internet on us all the time. I see people sitting on the train staring at the phone instead of looking out the window. Things like that, you know.
That's look, the availability of temptation is not the problem.
I'm not saying that's the problem. I'm just talking in general about what's happening.
No, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have the modem or if you have the fast broadband. That's not the problem.
Okay.
The problem is how you engaging with those things. If how you're letting those things overpower your self-control, your will, your responsibilities, right? Because in every era there has been things which are distractions, which are temptations.
Yeah, people said the same thing about books.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Book as well. You don't replace 10 hours of 10 hours of doom scrolling with 10 hours of reading and think
Yeah.
you've resolved your personal issues, right? So it's the prioritization of things. It's not thinking about yourself first, And there will be there will be times like this is what I'm saying. Like it's not as if those frivolous things don't matter. There will be times like when you are so tired and stuff or whatever it might be, you just want to relax, you just want to watch a movie, or you just want to doom scroll, like, for a bit, engage with like really funny content or cat videos that I am constantly engaging with, cat videos and funny memes, like, um, you just want to do that for an hour, or you just want to play some silly game and video game. I play it every now and then. You just want to, just relax and whatever, because you've taken care of those things. You don't do it while you have things to take care of, while you have.
But this seems such a simple message, though. This is like stuff you tell your teenagers.
Yeah, but people are not doing it because we have adolescent adults right now,
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
we
right?
do.
So you have to tell these things to people. This is why it infuriates me. It's like, why do I have to tell you that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you not prioritizing those things? Should I spend 2 hours playing a game, or should I spend 2 hours helping my neighbor put up their fence?
Well, playing a game is easier.
No, playing a game is self. It's not just that it's easier. It's because it's self gratification. It's like
It's selfish. Yeah.
it's selfish, right? And it's like, well, my neighbor is not my responsibility. Your neighbor is your responsibility. Your whole community is your responsibility. And that's not just collectivism. That's how we're supposed to live. We're not just supposed to live for ourselves. Now I'm going even beyond the needs of the family and stuff. That is more important. And you know what? You'll feel better doing that than playing your game. Because
Yeah.
things have a way of coming around anyways. Your neighbor will help you next time. Those things
Maybe.
matter more. You know, maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. Maybe they will play a game
But
while
that's
you're
not the
fixing a
point.
fence.
Yeah,
That's
that's not the
you have done
point.
your part.
Yeah.
You know, but like these are very simple messages. And actually, if you find it, these are the same messages that proper Christianity gives as well. Proper religious structure gives as well and stuff. And they've been giving it out for more than 2000 years, and people still don't get it, right? So it's not a matter of just people not understanding in this time and age. It's just people have always have difficulty with that. It goes to show that our problems are not unique, right? Our problems are not unique. Our challenges might be more not unique, but have more ferocity to it, right? More intensity to it. Those challenges, but they're not unique. We have had challenges. We have overcome challenges. Better people have overcome challenges, and worse people have fallen to those challenges, right? So this will happen again as well. So people need to stop being black pilled. People need to stop being like, oh, it's all over. It's all over. There's nothing I can do. I have tendencies. Sometimes I message you when I'm like really fucking black pilled. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
I'm
I
just
tell
like,
you, I'm like,
yeah.
wow, you've brought the dark cloud with
I'm
you.
just going on some island, and I've had enough of humanity, right? But it's those moments where you can let yourself be depressed and then come out of it.
It's okay to feel it and to express yourself. I don't think it's ever okay to dwell for too long, because I think, because we've had a lot of talk about mental health, and I spoke to you about it the other day, about the people excusing themselves from personal responsibility in that aspect, because we're in a culture that talks so much about mental health, whatever that even means, and it just seems like everybody's now mentally ill. Everybody's mentally ill, and it's like you're not. You're just all dwelling on yourself way too much and on your feelings way too much. I listened to, it might have been Jordan Peterson, but I think somebody else also said it about a year or two ago. Said something like the more you think about yourself and how you're feeling, the more likely you are to become depressed. And that was such a light bulb moment for me, because I'm someone who's dealt with depression, like actual depression, not just fashionable depression, for a very long time, since I was a kid, and anxiety as well. And I think it was a light bulb moment, because I was like, wow, yeah, I do think about myself and my feelings way too much. And, sometimes you don't have to. You can acknowledge your feelings and move on, or do something about it. But then that's part of where meditation comes into my thought process, because meditation for me is all about learning to put a boundary between you and your feelings, like when it's necessary, learning how to bring that out as a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of also like giving your mind a bit of time to reset. Like,
Yes.
the computer, if your desktop is running all the bloody time and you haven't shut it down for a bit or reset it, and sleeping is not really shutting down as well for some people.
No.
This is what like meditation actually helps me, because when I sleep, I actually fucking
Yeah, I've been struggling with my sleep. I always struggle, but I've been struggling with my quality of sleep. I think my quality of sleep is really bad, and there are things.
People don't need to sit down and meditate as well.
No,
People
well,
usually think like you just gotta sit down and you have to
but do
meditate
this.
and yeah, exactly, and the inspiration will come to you and the heavens will shine on you, whatever. No, like one of the best ways or times for me myself when I'm meditating is food prep. I love cooking food, right? Like I love cooking all the time. Like it's one of my favorite things to do, and food prep is something that I love doing, right? It's in those moments that you can find a bit of peace, a bit of disengagement, a bit of like sort of a reset and stuff. There's many ways that people can do it. Like you go for a walk, you go to do something, whatever, you're doing some mundane task, but like you allow your
That's another thing that working, like having another job other than being self-employed, has done for me actually. Because not only am I working for someone else, so I don't have the responsibility of the business, which is brilliant, but also doing the mundane tasks, the mundane repetitive tasks, and that has actually some of my best ideas are either when I'm in the gym or when I'm working, because it frees my mind up to be creative and not too distracted by all the noise on my phone
other
or whatever.
new thoughts come in and like percolate for a little bit, and then they
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
Somebody told me, sorry to interrupt, but somebody told me that Einstein had a really boring job because that's when all his best thoughts were happening. So that he could do all of his Einstein genius stuff outside of work, but his brain's had that space and time to think through some real problems while he's at work.
I mean, I hope that's true because
I hope that's true because it made me feel better about doing the same thing. Not that I'm Einstein, I'm definitely nowhere near clever, but it like creatively freed me up in my mind, and it's that thing of forcing me to get out the house as well, because otherwise I will just become a stereotype of a mad artist, a mad old lady that just stays indoors and paints.
but like there will be a lot of people at this point now, if they're still stuck around, who would be like really angry with me because when you tell someone to take personal responsibility, they get pissed off.
It hurts them.
It hurts them because they know it's true.
Yes, truth hurt. That is the bit that's going to piss people off. The whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Whatever. It is irrelevant. That's what I'm saying is blah, 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 blah. Right? Stuff has happened to me as well.
Stuff happens to everyone.
Exactly. I was in a war. I was in a war when I was 4 years old. Like, what the fuck are people even talking about? But it's irrelevant. The thing is, what are you going to do about it? So your parents were dickheads to you. Are you going to win over by being a miserable fuck all your life? Are you going to win in life by being the worst version of you? Or are you going to say that happened to me and that was unfair that it happened to me? It should not have happened to me.
Some people.
But what can I do?
But some people have a problem with even the first stage of that, which is saying that happened to me and it shouldn't have happened to me and it's unfair. Because some people, and I'm not talking about people that whinge about their victimhood all the time, I'm talking about like other people that have a problem with even doing that because they and having the problem with doing that and not saying that hurts themselves, so they're continuing to hurt themselves with what has happened to them in the past. And there is unfortunately an attachment to that hurting yourself, that self-harm, that psychological self-harm. People can get attached to it, and that's the way, in a weird twisted way, that's the way they also self-soothe, even though it's hurting themselves. Yeah, so there's a little bit of dysfunction with things like that, and there's not, as for all the talking about mental health in our society, there's not any talk about why you shouldn't hurt yourself with the past and how you should move on.
You shouldn't just dwell in it. Don't feel sorry for yourself all the bloody time, and also understand that that life, your life is not a race with others, because
oh, that's so hard to get though. I'm always looking at other people and going, "Oh, I'm not like I haven't got my shit sorted," you know.
Because this is what people think, like when they want to get better, they want to become the best, like better, right? They
Yeah.
want to be like, no, even if you become a little bit better, right? You're on that step. Life is not about the destination, it's about the process. You have
I
to
think
take part in the process to have a better life. You have to take the steps.
Social media makes that worse though, because you see things like, for example,
Comparing yourself all the time.
yeah, and for example, you go on Instagram and you see people's, like, for example, weight loss journeys. You get their before and after. You're seeing that before and after instantly. They've worked 2 years for it, but you want that now for yourself.
Yeah, and I see it in a lot of.
I've been in that position. I've felt like that before. I've fallen for it.
I see it in like in sort of religious sense as well. Like when people think like, and this is why people start play acting, right? Like they will, the influencers especially, they will act as if they are way too pious, right? Because they have just achieved nirvana all of a sudden. They've decided that there is a God now and Jesus is real, and all of a sudden they're like the Messiah, right? We have an example of this, like I'm forgetting his name. That comedian turned what's his name? The English comedian, whatever.
You're just saying, what's his name? The comedian. How am I going to know?
You know, he was in comedy movies and stuff. He was a bit of a slag.
Oh, Russell Brand.
Yeah, Russell Brand, right? So all of a sudden, his version of accepting Christ is him becoming Christ himself.
He's always been like that, though. That's it. That's a chronic part of his personality.
I'm not specifically talking about him. I'm saying like that phenomena.
Yeah, that's in our culture.
Right? So even if you want to get some spirituality, if you want to engage with Christ, the message, the wisdom of Christ and stuff, it doesn't mean that you become Christ day one or day 100 or day 1000 or something. It doesn't even mean that you become a priest or whatever. Like it means like it can even mean you are that person who is sitting at the last bench at the back of the church. It can just mean that. It can just mean that someone who just looks like into the church window, right? But the reason why I'm saying it is because stop comparing yourself from other people. The other different people have different processes what they go through, different journeys in life. You don't even know if they are true to their journey or not. You just have to make your step. You just have to make that effort. You just have to become like take part and become, take those steps, start your journey, and don't compare yourself with others. Just compare yourself with yourself from yesterday.
It's hard to do. It is hard to do. But I agree with you. I agree.
Life is not fucking simple. It is hard.
No, I think, but the thing that we have now that we didn't have before that makes that extraordinarily difficult is social media and celebrity and public figures, because you are always looking at these other people that look like they have a better life than you. And I say look like because they don't always. A lot of them are faking it. And then it makes you feel like, but I'm speaking a little bit from personal experience, but I see it in other people as well. They feel driven to be something more than just another person on the planet. And that drive can really hurt people. And I think that's a painful thing that people don't want to reckon with. Like the ego, basically. The ego wants us. I don't know if it is the ego, but it wants us. We want to be more than what we are, and for some reason, being loved by our friends and families isn't good enough anymore.
Yeah, but this comes like a whole circle to the first thing that I was saying. And you were saying as well, it's in the service of convenience where we have lost our world, right? Because we think life is not hard, like life is not meant to be hard. We want it to be easy. We want it like, life is filled with suffering and harshness. Every single living being goes through it. We are not unique in this. Every single living being, every single animal, every single plant, every single thing in the universe. None of them have it easy. Nothing has it. Our Earth doesn't have it easy. Its existence, like its relationship with the moon.
So I see it now. I see why people want things like internet celebrity status, is because then you are rewarded with what appears to be an easy life, even though when you achieve that, shit can still happen to you.
Shit happens all the time. These celebrities, right? These celebrities, you see them, they have a relationship 2 years and then they divorce, 3 years and they divorce, 4 years and they divorce. What do you think
Who was?
Oh, I was listening to a song. I was listening to a song earlier before we got on podcast. I think it was a Mod Sun song. I really like him. He's a great musician. And one of the lines, a couple of lines in his song said that I've never had a relationship that lasts more than 2 years. And then he blames it on Hollywood. And I was thinking, get out of Hollywood.
There's many other people in
Get out of
Hollywood
Hollywood.
like,
But I don't know if he blamed it on Hollywood, but he said something about this is the Hollywood culture. But I mean, if that's the Hollywood culture, get out of Hollywood. If you don't, yeah, you are actively part of it.
but what are you prioritizing? You're prioritizing your music. You're not even prioritizing your music. You're prioritizing the audience that you want for your music. Because
Ooh, I don't know if he is, but I get where you're coming from. I get why you're saying it.
if he's in part blaming the Hollywood culture, he's prioritizing the audience for his music. If he was just prioritizing his music, he could have to play that music in his backyard without any audience, right? He or she, I don't know, actually know who you're talking about, but I'm just saying, like, as whoever that person is, they're prioritizing that. And if they're prioritizing that, then obviously they can bitch and moan about the Hollywood culture, like all the people are doing it, right? People are complaining about the decline, the cultural decline, like, oh, the cultural decline, but then they're engaging with it. And this person is the personification of that, complaining about the Hollywood culture, but not giving up the benefits, monetary benefits, and the attention benefits that he would get.
I think it's different for musicians and artists because being a professional attention seeker is your job.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, but that's fine then. But then engage differently, because not everyone is doing that, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he actually lives in Hollywood. It was just a thought, because I thought about that as a line, and I thought about other celebrities that are not happy in Hollywood. Get out of Hollywood, move away, don't live there. Like, do you know what I mean?
It doesn't even matter about that individual. I don't even know, like,
Yeah,
I
no.
brought him up, but I wasn't speaking. He's a musician. He's a great musician. I'll send him Mod Sun. I'll send you some of his music. I didn't bring it up. Yeah, no, I didn't bring it up as a thing about him as a person. I brought it up as that line in a song made me think about it. Yeah, and it made me think, you people that are upset with how Hollywood is, don't live there. Just don't live there. You don't have to stay there. But then again, I think, there's always an excuse. There's always going to be people that say they have to stay there for their careers. And it's the same, not in Hollywood, it's the same anywhere else.
but like, this is what I'm saying, like, if it's shit, like, you're making that active choice to be a part of it because of the benefit of the monetary benefits. It's materialistic benefits.
Here's another argument. Not an argument, but here's another viewpoint. So, for example, I think things are really shit in England. What's stopping me from moving away from England? But if I move away, this is my other thought, am I just running away from the problems rather than fixing the place that I grew up and live in?
It's a different that's a different problem, right?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it is a different problem because it's not it's not a problem that just involves you. It involves your social responsibilities as well. But as well as, like, if you find something that, is it shit in England, or is it you engaging in those things is more shit? Like, there's other people within England as well who are not, in as bad of a situation as us might be, right? It's because of the line of work that we have chosen, or the line of work that we have, right? So What I'm trying to say is, like, have you lived everywhere in England to understand that it might not be everywhere, might not be shit, right? But you may leave England, like that person may leave Hollywood, right? And live somewhere else.
Yeah.
But that's not the problem. That is never like that is not the problem. Um, changing where you live. You will still have the same problems that you have with yourself, with your relationship,
Oh
with your
yeah,
relation.
That's the saying, everywhere you go, there you are.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So it's always going to be.
But sometimes the problems are environmental. Like the reasons I would think of leaving England and me and Do's is because I think that there's more opportunities elsewhere as artist and musician than there is here. That's the reason. But the reason we would stay is because of our personal relationships.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, and then then you should take your personal and social responsibility more seriously, and then see, like, okay, I need to do more to change the environment. I need to do more to better the environment. This is why I'm engaging with these things, right? I never needed to engage socially in social commentary or whatever.
No, same, me too. But our lives got turned upside down, so I just started speaking online about it, and I thought that I could make a change by doing that, but I don't think I can. I'm not sure. Sometimes I flip flop. Sometimes I think I'm helping other, like, because other artists do come to me and they're like, let's change this. And I have spoken a lot about creating a counterculture for artists, but trying to get other people to get on board and be proactive is difficult because other people don't want to have to do hard
By the end of
things.
the day, you can do like what you can do. Like, you can't just
Yeah,
convince
that's it.
people that,
All you can do is lead by example. You can't like make other people join in on your vision of how to change things for the better.
like, moving away is not like, moving countries or whatever stuff like that. It's not as if like it's a sort of like a betrayal or something.
I see it as a little bit. Yeah, no, I see it as running away from the problems in some aspects.
No, no,
Aspect.
no. If you have tried, I'm not talking about
Right.
like people like Isabel Oakeshott, right? So who was like
Don't
the
know who that is.
Oakeshott, whatever her name is, the girlfriend of Richard Tice from Reform Party, who moved to
Right.
Dubai because she wanted less taxes on private schooling.
Right.
And
Oh
then
God.
she like now then she is criticizing people who want to make things better in England. I'm not talking about those sort of people, right? Those sort of people are like completely materialistic, disengaged people about the community and stuff. They've never done anything to do something better for the community, right? If you have tried, like I'm talking about like people, okay, people like Grant Linham, right? Graham
Yeah.
Linham, he has tried all his best, right?
Oh, he's done above and beyond.
Exactly. Now he's gone to to even try from there, like from his art, help other people and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about like that person is not betraying anything, right?
Yeah.
But if you are here, then you need to make efforts and stuff to help your community, whatever in little way that you can. Like what I'm saying about myself is like there was nothing happened to me in my personal life done to me by the system that I couldn't handle on my own without having to speak about it. And I did handle on that own. People don't know about those things that have happened to me in my workspace or whatever, which I've had to deal with because it's not something that I've talked about.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about the commenting on the social problems and the political problems and stuff because it's affected me or I had to do it, right? I could just move. I can just move. I have the skills to move in. I have the chance to move in. I can move to Poland. I can move to America. I have family everywhere. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm speaking because I'm taking my social responsibility because I want to change the environment, not just for myself, but for others. So, like, if people don't want to take their social responsibility seriously, then there's no point in any of this. There's no point of even like in any of the civilization or humanity. The civilizations haven't like sustained themselves because individuals became selfish. That's how they decline.
Yeah.
And we are declining. If you're gonna just let it be, just let it decline, then everyone needs to stop talking about it. Just enjoy the decline then.
Just enjoy the ride.
enjoy the ride, and it's gonna be fine.
Or it might not be fine, but then you can't complain about it because you did nothing.
Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of people who complain and they don't do anything about it. I see a lot of people who, you know, complain about many things, like how like, their community disintegrating and stuff like that. But then they don't make any effort to know their neighbors.
Yeah, but then a lot of people feel disconnected from their neighbours. Like, for example, if you live in an area where your neighbours are now mostly immigrants, how do you get to know them, especially if they don't speak the same language or things like that? Do you know what I mean?
I can understand if they're 100% immigrants, right?
Right,
I
yeah,
think
but they're not going to be, are they? Not in
exactly.
every
So
neighborhood. Yeah,
people are using that as an excuse,
that's true.
Like they when I was living in Malden and stuff, like none of my neighbors were immigrants and stuff. Probably in that sense, I was the immigrant over there.
Yeah, I was about to
You know?
say you.
Yeah,
You're the
I was
you're the
one,
one.
right? But we were as a community, we were engaging with each other and helping each other out, and like whatever my neighbor helped me with my fence and stuff, he didn't have to, you know.
Yeah, we don't really know our neighbours anymore. Like, when I was growing up, I pretty much knew everyone on my road.
I know, but like these are things that are never a given, right? So I know, like, some of my friends, because when I moved to that place where I was living before, I went and said hello to all my neighbors, right? And I gave them
I
like
didn't.
Christmas cards and stuff like that as well. Now that's what I'm saying, because apart from you, I have other friends as well who don't do that, right?
No, but I didn't for a reason. And when we moved into this flat, we were going into hiding, so I didn't want anyone to know we were here.
That's fine. That's fine. Whatever the reason might
Yeah.
be, right?
Yeah, but I have since then made an effort to get to know neighbours.
Yeah.
Neighbours.
So my friend like thought like, oh, that's just stupid. Like you just annoying people and stuff. It's like, no, I'm not annoying people.
Nice.
Because I created relationships from it, right? I helped other people, like, with their stuff and whatnot, because they knew who I was, and they helped me in return, and I had a sense of community and stuff. So
Yeah.
nothing got stolen from in front of my house or whatever, because if they were going by and they saw it, they told me about it, or they made sure that it's safe or whatever. Because you create that community, then you create that
Yeah, you
high
do.
trust community. Then you won't create a high trust community when you don't even know each other. So even if it's shit, we all have to start making that effort to start turning it around. And if someone turns around and tells to us like, oh, that's just like too cringe, too Jesus, like, fuck off. This is how we organize our society. If you don't like it, pack your bags and fuck off, or don't engage with our community then.
I think it's good advice to start with what's in front of you and who's in front of you. I think that is good advice, because I think for a lot of people, when you hear about like, you can make the change, you can help change your community, you can change this, you can change that, people feel like they can't, and they feel like it's too big of a burden on them. And also, like, we are in a culture where we don't know our neighbours. I think a lot of that has to do with isolating by being online. So we're isolating from each other. But it's weird because, we're isolated, but also like the most lonely people or whatever. And I think just knowing your neighbours' names would be a big start. Like, I know my neighbours' names, and that's really been a weird experience. Like, starting again, because we came here and we started again, but I've started to build my community connections when I did things like join the gym. That was really scary because I didn't know anyone, but now I know everybody who goes there. If I don't know their name, I know their face, and I've said hello to them at least once or twice every time I've been there. And so I'm starting to do things like that. Even getting a job helped me be more part of the community, because I'm not just cooping myself up indoors and painting and doing my own thing. I now know I'm familiar to people, and other people are familiar to me. So it does help. It does help you to feel better as well if you're in it for selfish reasons.
Like, we are social animals and social media is not the social that connects.
No, it's not. It's creating more of a void in our lives, I think. Like, because I can have a chat with you on here, I'm still not as connected as I felt as I felt, yeah, or as I felt when I was having lunch with my brothers yesterday. That was way more of a connection than I could get with anyone on a screen. But then I do enjoy the conversations intellectually. I find myself intellectually fulfilled, but there's something else missing.
The thing is, like, these things, we have to think about these sort of things as complementary and not a replacement of the real.
Yeah,
Right? They
exactly
are
that.
complementary things, sort of a thing. Like learning from a book is complementary to gaining knowledge, but actually doing something is the real way of gaining the knowledge, right? So
Yeah,
these are we are taking these things as a replacement. Being on social media, having a friend on your social media like stuff is a replacement for having friends and not a complementary thing. No,
well,
I have
yeah,
real friends. I have real friends, and I communicate them on social media, WhatsApp, and like you send them memes and funny videos and stuff. That's a complementary element to our relationship. That's not
yeah,
a replacement. I still need to see them in person.
Yeah, me and Dudes really noticed that when we got cancelled, because before we got cancelled, we were like, everything we did relied on being social. Everything was about seeing people in real life. Like Doozer does his live gigs, I would be talking to everyone. We were very interactive with the environment. Every environment we went to, we were interacted with everyone. So then when we went into lockdowns, we were all isolated. Everybody was isolated. That drove everybody a bit mad. And we got cancelled during lockdowns, like the second cancellation. And it's that not only are we physically isolated from everyone, but everybody turned their backs on us. And that's when we had a real lesson in what it does to people to not have anything, like not even a person to talk to online, and not even a person to talk to in person. It's really, really damaging. So, but the online isn't a replacement, because I went to Twitter and started talking on there, and then I grew my audience or platform or whatever you want to call it, and I found people to talk to. But that didn't replace the fact that we had no one in our real lives by our side standing up for us, or even standing by us. And the people that did stand by us wanted to do so in secret, and that wasn't good enough for me, because I feel like if you're going to stand by us, stand by us. Don't do it in secret.
It's never a good replacement. Like, we can have as many conversations online as we.
That's what I found. Like, I could talk on X, and I could grow the biggest platform and the biggest audience ever, and it won't replace being able to talk to someone in real life.
And like, all of these our conversations and stuff were nothing compared to us meeting in person and doing stuff in person, and you guys helping us move and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was good fun. That was a good day.
Exactly. Nothing of this will ever replace it. It's a complementary thing, right? So we can talk about these things, we can message to each other about whatever certain subjects and stuff as a complementary thing to when we actually meet in person, we're going to discuss it a bit further, right? Or we're going to do something that is going to be fun and that is just going to take us away from those things. Now, the social media and this stuff, like, is becoming a replacement and is disconnecting us from each other. We think that connection means being able to access each other, right? Physically, right? This is not a connection. If I go to my neighbor and I have access to be able to knock on their door and talk to them in person, that is not a connection. If all I'm going over there for is to shout at them and be angry at them, right? That is not a connection. So being able to communicate with someone through a phone or something, that is not a connection. The connection is actually connecting with people on a human level, understanding them, feeling what they're feeling, feeling their actual words, helping them, doing something in action. Like, those things can never be replaced. And the more that I see it, that those things are being replaced in people's minds, the less human we're becoming.
I think so. I think
the more receptive we're becoming to the idea of AI.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, I think there's a real move to push us away from our humanity and to accept an artificial sort of digital replacement for life. Have you ever seen that film Surrogates with Bruce Willis? I think it's Bruce Willis. Surrogates. It's where people go and they're in like they look like sunbeds. They're in the pods, and their body is in the pod, and they're in the pod, but they're digitally living their lives in their mind, and they're not living physically. And yeah, it's an amazing film. I watched it years ago. I might watch it again because Dooza loves it as well. And we were like, oh my God, this is the way we're going. We're all just living online and we're not physically doing it. Yeah. Well, I've never seen The Matrix, so I should watch it.
That like everyone is in a capsule and they're connected through the back of their head into it.
Yeah.
Weird. It's weird that we're sort of a roundabout way, like sort of going that way somehow. But I think we are more and more being we're being groomed. I suppose groomed is the wrong word, but groomed into accepting that for our future, as if that's going to be a sufficient that's going to be a sufficient replacement for our connection as humans.
Yeah, but I also think it's like less human, because humans are not supposed to be efficient. We're supposed to be connected more, right? So it's not as if like we have to achieve 100. We can achieve 60, and we can achieve 50, we can achieve 60, we can achieve 70, and still live a very fulfilled life and fulfill our potential as human beings as well, as a collective human beings as well. We need to get to 100, not by sacrificing what makes us human. We need to get to 100. It will take time, but we can get to that 100 without replacing ourselves with AI, right? It has to be complementary. Everything of these, like AI has to be complementary. When AI is complementary into us gaining information, it is amazing. It is an amazing tool, right? If you want,
same with social media. Yeah,
exactly, like if you want to do research and stuff, right? It is an amazing tool that can whittle down so much information for you in bite sizes, and then you can explore further. But
Yeah.
if you're going to replace your research, your input, your human evaluation and analysis for AI to just do that for you, you fucked it up then. You completely fucked it up then, because that's what we're doing.
But AI doesn't. AI knows a lot. Like AI knows a lot, and it's brilliant in terms of its ability to not understand, but to articulate a lot of the human condition in what would take a normal person, like what would take a person like a lifetime of work. Like a therapist, for example, would need like 40 years of experience to come to the understanding that he or she has, whereas AI can do it in 4 minutes. It's not understanding that the AI has, it's a way of articulating. But we have the understanding, we have the experience. Does that make sense? There's the difference, but what AI is doing is still incredible.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible, but it's like you said, it's got to be complementary.
It has to be seen. Yeah, it has to be complementary. It has to be seen like, robot, get me that book sort of a thing. Or even robot, get me that book and read me that book. And summarize that book, but don't tell me what that book is about.
No, I like the idea of AI replacing mundane things like hoovering, but I don't want AI to, because people talk a lot about AI replacing jobs, like low skilled jobs or whatever they call it. I don't really want that to happen, because there's whole communities or environments of people, there's whole groups of people who need those. I think we talked about that the other night, didn't we? They need those mundane jobs.
That will happen if our society remains a materialistic society, and I think so that is going to remain that. There's a lot.
I'm one of those people that need those jobs. I'm one of them.
Because the thing is, like, this is why we're going towards AI and stuff like that as well. It's because of materialism, because we're trying to choose the most convenient way of progressing rather than understanding that it's supposed to be the hard way of progressing. Like, destination is not that important. than the process and than the journey, right? The destination
Yeah.
is actually irrelevant to it. It's the journey that we have to take, and we have to keep on taking that journey. But like people are going to go towards that. I see a lot of people who complain about the society, this cultural decline, and all of those things, yet saying how much they love Thatcher, right? And engaging in thoughts like that. It's like, well, she destroyed, which she destroyed industry of people. She destroyed like the mining societies and stuff, all of those sort of things, while not replacing them.
Can I be honest about something here, though? I'll be honest. I don't really care about Thatcher as much as other people do, because the way I see it is like that was a long time ago. I know it wasn't a long time ago for some people. For me, it was. It's like I care more about what's happening now than what happened
When Thatcher was
You
here.
can't understand what is happening now unless you understand how it started.
It's not that I don't understand, it's that I don't really care.
No, but this is the problem. You have to care about those things in a way. Not every single person, but if you have a politician
Yeah.
who idealizes Thatcher, and they are saying they want to change Britain, and
I
then you
would care
say,
about that because that's
right?
happening now.
No, but the thing
No,
is,
but
like that.
if that was happening now, I would care about that.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We have a lot of these politicians in the conservative circle, in the
Yeah.
right wing circle, who idealize Thatcher. And because we don't know the effects of her way of doing things that have had on wider society, we idealize that person then because we see Thatcher as a strong woman or whatever the fuck. And then we vote for that person, right? So we might not care that Thatcher was a while ago, but it is having that continuous effect on that politician who idealizes her way of doing things. So what do you think is going to happen when that person on the right wing or whatever, who we have given authority to better our culture, or we think he's going to save our culture, what he or she is going to do with the Thatcher ideas? They are not going to better the culture. They're going to ruin it even more. That is when AI is going to replace the jobs and stuff, just like the miners' jobs were replaced and stuff, without putting anything in place of it. They were displaced. They weren't even replaced. Like they weren't given anything else to go by. Right. That's why
So
these things sort of matter.
Let's say that was to happen. Where does your argument of personal responsibility come into the world where AI has replaced all the low skilled jobs and we have a Thatcherite?
in power.
Well, it might be too late for that then. We might already be set in we might already be set on a route.
So some people listening to this might say, well, they might think to themselves, well, why take personal responsibility at all if it might be too late?
It's not too late yet,
True. How do we know
right?
that though?
Because it hasn't happened yet. Those things haven't happened yet. There's still a struggle going on. There's still a fight going on, right? Uh, Reform Party is filled with that, by the way. It's materialistic, free market liberals, right? They don't really care about the society. They only care about the society as much as they can LARP on those points to get them the votes, right? Only people like Rupert Lowe are the ones who actually understand the wide effects of it. Even if that happens, even if we are in that world of AI and stuff like that, right? Then the paradigm changes. Then we have to reevaluate things. And then we have to see how do we are now our personal and communal social responsibilities. It doesn't mean that we stop taking responsibility. It just means that we start engaging in a bit of a different way. But since that has not happened yet, I don't want people to change or disengage now for something that might or might not happen. When that happens, that we need to process that differently. That has not happened yet, and I
Yeah.
would not want that to happen. So I want people to take their responsibilities now to make sure that we are not in a less human world in the future.
Yeah.
I think what you've been saying is not far off some of the things I've been thinking. So I was talking to someone the other day. Actually, I come out of the gym and bumped into somebody local who I've made friends with. I made a lot of local friends, and we went for a cup of tea together before I went home. And so she was telling me about how she's, overloaded, overwhelmed with all this information, these things on the internet and everything. And one of the things I suggested was to protect herself by asserting those boundaries, and like you say, make the choice to prioritize where you're going to spend your time. And so you've just said it in a different way and come at it from a different angle. You're coming at it from a personal responsibility and making the community better angle, whereas I said a similar thing, but it was more of a sort of a personal boundary, your headspace, how you want to navigate your time going forwards, and make choices that are better for you, more beneficial for you. But you could extrapolate that into make choices that are better for your environment as well and the people around you.
Yeah, first you have to make choices that are better for you, and then you have to expand that,
Yeah, of
from
course.
yourself to your family, from your family to your wider family, to your wider family to your community, to community to nation. Like,
Yeah.
I see it as a protecting yourself issue as well, because I think people do need to protect themselves from what's online. I think they need to protect themselves mentally and emotionally from what's online, and learn how to, as you say, disengage to an extent and moderate what they're consuming and choose what they're consuming quite wisely.
yeah, but also like to protect yourself as well. Like, you're better protected when you have a battalion than yourself as a warrior, right? Like, if you're going to war with someone, like, it's better to be in a battalion than just yourself,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
it's better, like, for each individual soldier to be really good, be a good fighter, and do practice or whatever, become the best version of themselves. But they're never going to achieve anything unless that they are in a group, they're in a battalion and stuff. And I
Yeah.
know, like, people go against collectivism and stuff. Like, collectivism of this sort doesn't mean this is community, right? It doesn't mean that you give up the rights of individuals or something. Um, it just means that you reevaluate your priorities, that you connect your well-being and your protection to the protection of others, right? If you're in a battalion, right, all these soldiers, and every single soldier is just concerned about their own safety and security, they'll all lose. They'll
Yeah,
all
you're
lose.
screwed.
They're all going to die, right? But if you're in a battalion where you are working together and are taking care of each other, have each other's back and stuff, you have a chance that 99% or all of you might survive it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people, like, if they think that a world of individual anarchy with just free market liberalism, just taking care of yourself and just being like, materialistic is going to save them. That's not going to happen. It's going to destroy. And the reason why people are not really getting that is because they think that it's going to happen instantly. It's not going to happen instantly. These things are usually the destruction of civilizations, as complicated and complex and as intricate as the English civilization is. It takes a while. It's a slow burner. It takes a while, and has taken a while. It has taken 40, 50 years now, uh, since after the Second World War, for it to disintegrate to this point, all of a sudden, where we can't recognize what we had before, right? Or what
Yeah.
people had before. So it's going to take a while. It might not happen with you, like yourself but your future generation will not, will have the
Yeah.
civilization destroyed. So
That's positive, because it means, because it's going to take a while, we've got a while to change the trajectory, because there's a lot of things online. A lot of people speak about this with urgency, and I understand why. Like, even I've spoken about things that are going on with urgency. But it's more, for me, it's more the urgency of you've got to acknowledge this. It's not the urgency of we've got to act today and turn it all around by the end of the week. It's you've got to acknowledge it, at least think about it. And to think about it, you've at least got to hear it first, because a lot of people are not hearing. I know loads of people that won't even would never tune into what I'm saying in a million years because somebody's told them I'm a baddie. So we've got that going on in society as well. Like, I personally have been trying to cut through that bit, just the very beginning bit where, hey, it's okay to listen to somebody that somebody else told you not to listen to, and then think for yourself about it and make your own mind up, because you might not agree with half of what I say, but you might agree with one thing. And there's that going on, that just trying to cut through that shit initially is where I feel we're at. I don't even feel like we're anywhere near sort of overcoming big hurdles as a society yet. We can't even create a community around us yet because we're not listening to each other. So there is that as well. I totally get where you're coming from, even though I've pushed back on some of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take time, but just the switch is like we have to turn the switch first. It's sort of like, let's say a teenager or whatever, like is being extremely lazy or something, not taking responsibilities or whatever, and they decide like they want to become independent. Like, okay, I want to be more independent. I'm going to get my driving license. If they don't get it within a day, it's not as if like they're a failure, right? And they won't get it in a day. It means that they have decided, okay, I want to do this, and now I'm going to start taking my lessons. And I'm going to take my lessons, driving license and stuff, and then I'm going to try to give the driving test and I'm going to pass it. That process is going to take a time. But that switch has been turned. That's a
Yes.
switch that we have to turn, and don't expect the light to come out straight away. It's going to
No,
take
it
a
takes
while.
ages. Like,
Yeah.
some people that I know in my life that are on the music scene, that have watched what we've gone through, are only just starting to get their heads around the idea that it's okay to say that men are not women.
Mm,
It's like,
yeah.
mate, this has been going on for years, and
Yeah.
you've only just begun to even
But that's
just be
fine.
comfortable with
The
saying
thing is
something.
like that's fine. Like this is as well, people are expecting everyone to start just give up like the whole woke thing.
We did. Why are they not willing to do that at the drop of a hat? And that's not me being reasonable. That's me just thinking emotionally about my own experiences and being like, why is everybody else not doing it? Because if everybody does it, they can't cancel at all. But it's not going to take. It's not going to be like that. It's not. And sometimes I wrestle with that myself. Because I want things instantly as well.
Mm, we all do because we want to see the improvements in our lifetime, but it
Yeah, of
might not
course we do.
be. It might not be. This is why, like, my message from the start has been as well, like, why are you trying to save the culture and the society, the British culture and British society and stuff? Are you doing it are you trying to save it for yourself, or are you trying to save it for your children and your children's children? Because
Well, yeah.
if you're trying to save it for your children's children, then why are you expecting improvement in your lifetime? You have to sacrifice this. Generations have to sacrifice to gain back what was before, or
Yeah.
improvement from before as well into
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah, and we've seen that. Like, my generation has been the fruits of that, because like we've got. I'm part of a generation who had grandparents in the Second World War, and so they sacrificed a lot. Even if like my grandparents were young, so they were babies. So, but their families sacrificed a lot to bring them up, and then they had to go through whatever they had to go through. And every generation, it's supposed to be that you get better. I mean, sometimes that doesn't work like that, and it's looking like for the first time in a while it's going to go the other way, where people have it worse than the previous generation. And that people, well, my generation reckons they've got it worse than the generations before us, because people used to be able to buy houses and that. But I think there's elements of things that were better and elements of things that were worse, because we've got a lot more in our advantages now. Like, for example, as artist and musician, couldn't be a better time to get your art and your music out than there is right now. There couldn't. But you could look back on 80s and 90s if you're a musician and say, well, those were the glory days for touring. But yeah, but they were the glory days for touring. But nowadays, it's like you've got so much access to get what you want, and it's just pros and cons. There's there's never a clear-cut solution. There's only trying to make things better as you go along, and there's always going to be cons to it. I think there's always going to be consequences. I think this has been a brilliant chat. So I'm going to wrap it up because we've done 2 hours, I think, haven't we? And that's quite a long time for some people. Although I had a sneaky little tea. I'll tell you about it later. Might not be able to talk about it on YouTube, but it made me ultra focused and I'm enjoying that. So thank you for having a conversation with me. It's been brilliant, and I hope that the audience have plenty to contribute to this in the comments. Anything you want to say in terms of where to find you, where to find your content?
On YouTube, find me on the World of Momus, the World of Momus podcast, Twitter at the World of Momus, Instagram at the World of Momus. Everywhere that you put the World of Momus will come up. Substack, I would prefer more people to go over there as
Okay.
theworldofmomus.com. Think about becoming a paid subscriber if you want to. If you don't want to, doesn't matter. All the stuff over there is free.